It's my intention to give Senator Nelson the time that she needs. She requested about 45 minutes, so I'm planning to extend our committee meeting if necessary. So Senator Nelson, Senate File 570, post-secondary enrollment option modifications, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Chair, thank you so much to the committee and to you. I do have Senate File 570, and Mr. Chair, I have an author's amendment that I'd like to incorporate into Senate File 570, if someone could move that, please.
Thank you. Senator Eichhorn moves the author's amendment. Is it the A1? A8 amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee. Well, actually, this is a great to follow up on the wonderful discussion that you have just had. And as you know, from the Perpich and Carlson administrations right through to the present day, Minnesota has had a history of promoting student and parental choice laws. And post-secondary enrollment options, which you've heard about today, are one of those options. Technically, PSEO, as it's known, includes those courses that are taught on the college campuses, and we do call those PSEO, and it also includes college in the schools. Those are the courses that are taught in the high schools, those college courses taught in the high schools, and we refer to that as concurrent enrollment. Both are types of dual credit. And members, I believe you may have already discussed this, but I wasn't here when you were discussing it. So just in case, I want to make sure that this gets on the record, that the data is clear. Students who take dual credits receive they graduate at higher rates from high school. More of them go to college. They graduate quicker with higher GPAs, lower student debt, and lower student debt. And this is particularly of interest for our students of color. The high school graduation rates rise by over double digits for our students of color who have participated in our dual credits. So it's something that we can do to give our students a head start into their post-high school lives. And what I thought I'd tell you briefly is what the bill does. But before I do that, Mr. Chair, we have some testifiers who have come from a long way, and perhaps we should bring our testifiers up so they could talk about why this bill is important, and then I'll go through the sections of the bill when they've finished. So, okay. Mr. Chair?
Looks like we're getting a little bit out of order, so
yes.
Senator Nelson, if you would introduce your testifiers
yes.
as they come up.
And Mr. Chair, I will, but there is one testifier I have to ask to come up first because he has to leave for another meeting. So if you can wait just a moment, we could have Mr. Sam Walseth with the Minnesota Rural Education Association address the committee, please.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Welcome back to the committee, Mr. Walseth. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Sam Walseth with the Minnesota Rural Education Association, and appreciate you accommodating me and getting me up on the witness stand right away. I want to thank Senator Nelson for working on this bill, and with the A8 amendment, I'm happy to be here today and testify in support of the bill on behalf of the Minnesota Rural Education Association. I think Senator Nelson was about to go into some detail about what the bill does now as amended, and I'm just going to mention three remaining sections that are very important from the perspective of the association I'm working with. The first is an allowance that would allow districts to enter into concurrent enrollment agreements with bordering state higher education institutions. It would be our preference to continue working with our Minnesota State institutions, but we are a little frustrated that in this last year that Minnesota State has embarked upon a flat or uniform pricing structure for concurrent enrollment programs, and if I understand it correctly, when this is all said and done, we'll be looking at a minimum of $3,000 per concurrent enrollment course engagement between the higher ed institution and the high school. And for those of you from larger school districts, $3,000 may not sound like a lot of money, but from a small rural school district perspective, when you have two or three students in a concurrent enrollment course, $3,000 becomes a very big price tag and becomes an economic barrier to continuing to offer that concurrent enrollment program. So while we want to continue working with Minnesota State and we'd like them to reconsider the uniform pricing they've gone forward with, we would like to also have the opportunity to visit with some of our neighboring higher education institutions. I can't tell you today what those pricing structures might look like from a neighboring institution, but at least just having the option in law would be, I think, beneficial to some of your perhaps some of your bordering rural districts out there in greater Minnesota. Mr. Chair, members, the second piece is very important. You're going to hear from a lot of students, and adding to the concurrent enrollment advisory boards, adding students to those advisory boards. That's an important voice that's missing today, and Senator Nelson's bill would add their voice, and you're going to hear their voice expressed here in a moment, and we think that's a great move in a positive direction. And third, the last piece I wanted to mention is language that you'd find in the A8 amendment on lines 1.7 through 1.11, dealing with technology resources and kind of a sticky issue between the adults involved, between the two systems, the K-12 system and the higher education system, and the students. And what the A8 amendment will do is clarify that the students' technology needs will be taken care of, and it's up to the two systems to work things out between themselves, between the post-secondary education campus and the high school campus, if that student were to be remaining at the high school and taking that post-secondary credit online through the high school. And that'll clear up, I think, a situation that arose this last fall. We think that sets the state policy and the expectations that the adults involved in the situation get things figured out and not drag the student into that situation. So, Mr. Chairman and members, I'm happy to stay for some questions, but we do really appreciate the work that Senator Nelson and the advocates have put into this legislation. It's very important, and with the A8 adopted, we are in full support of the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
So given Mr. Walseth's limited availability, I'm going to break protocol here and ask if there are any questions for the testifier. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Walseth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Nelson, would you introduce your students,
Yes.
please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I do want to thank Mr. Walseth and the Minnesota Rural Education Association for their work on refining this bill. And also, if I could have Mr. Joe Nathan come up, Center for School Change. He'll kind of set the stage, and then we'll hear from the real stars here, which are the students who have participated.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is John.
I'm sorry, Mr. Nathan, can we find a chair and a microphone for Mr. Nathan, please?
I apologize, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. 32 years ago, on a bipartisan basis, the legislature created something that was a first in the United States, post-secondary enrollment options. More than 150,000 students have used that, but equally important, high schools all over the state of Minnesota have thoughtfully and creatively created new options, advanced placement, college in the schools, international baccalaureate, Project Lead the Way. And so both the youngsters who've chosen to go to a college campus and the youngsters who have chosen to stay on a high school campus have benefited from this option. This has worked out, saving literally tens of millions of dollars for families, helping to reduce the college debt, but also we have research that I believe is summarized in a web-page statement that you have that shows that youngsters who participate in these programs are not only more likely to go to graduate from high school, but also more likely to enter and graduate from some form of higher education. Moreover, and equally important, some people say, well, aren't these kids just more likely to go to college? And the answer, according to the research from Teachers College, Columbia, Iowa State, and other places, is not necessarily. In fact, as we think about ways to close achievement gaps, as well as ways to reduce college debt, this is one of the best tools, not the only tool, but one of the best tools that we have. And so what you're going to hear from today are some people, some of whom have driven several hours from the southwestern Minnesota, some of whom are from Elk River, some of whom are from the Twin Cities, young people who are going to speak briefly, a parent who's going to speak briefly, and we have a few other folks. They won't all speak, obviously, but I want to ask the young woman from Elk River to hold up her hand. From Woodbury and others in the Twin Cities, but you will hear from young people who are, of course, what we're all here for. And these young people are going to help you have some insights. We understand that the Senator has decided to make some modifications. We hope to continue working with you and your colleagues on specific provisions of this bill. But we want to make sure that you have a chance to hear from young people, so we're going to start right here. Your name?
So thank you and welcome to the committee. If the students would just, as you testify, just state your name and where you're from, please.
Okay, I'm Paige Erzman, and I'm a junior at St. Francis High School in St. Francis, Minnesota. and I support this bill because it's an issue that affects me personally and would have an impact on the rest of my life, just as it would on many other students' lives. I'm a part-time PSEO student, so I take college and school classes too at St. Francis, and then I take the rest of my classes at Anoka Ramsey Community College. For the past 5 months, a group of PSEO students from St. Francis, our parents and I have been working to convince our school board to treat grading for all dual credit courses equally, because they decided last summer to weight college and school classes and AP classes, but not PSEO classes, without telling us, and they made the decision after I had already started fall classes at Anoka Ramsey. And they also made the weighted grades retroactive, so students who took college courses through the high school the year before got their GPAs and their class ranks boosted above the ones who took PSEO. So it gives students who take college and school and AP classes a clear advantage. So even if PSEO students get A's, get straight A's, it doesn't matter because their class rank will drop below the college and school students. I've worked really hard to get where I am. I'm ranked first in my class when grades are weighted equally, but when my school doesn't weight my PSEO credits, they're telling me that my hard work isn't good enough, and it really, it just is heartbreaking to me that I've spent so much time in this community. When colleges look at a PSEO student's transcript and they see that their class rank and their GPA is lower than other students, they don't get an accurate idea of how the student did compared to those other students, so it's just really unfair. What's worse is how my school district has treated PSEO students. I decided to do PSEO because a high school counselor told me that I couldn't take AP Biology, Chemistry, and College Physics during my junior and senior year at St. Francis, so I did PSEO so I could make my own schedule and get into whatever high-level classes I wanted. And I really excel in the college environment, and in a way that I wouldn't, I think, in the high school environment. And that's why students do PSEO, and they're the high-achieving kids, and they're still being treated unfairly. I also went to a group meeting when I decided to register with the high school counselors, and they told us that if we did PSEO, we would probably fail, which was a lie to try and scare us. And I actually wanted to not do PSEO at that point because I was afraid, and my mom encouraged me to do it, to try. And I found that it was perfect for me. Another incident was my sister is in the 8th grade, and the same high school counselors went and spoke to her class, and they told her about all the different dual credit options except for PSEO, and when she asked about it, they said that it was an option, but even their top students fail, which is the same lie again. A couple weeks ago, a student came into my college and school trigonometry class and made an announcement to the class that students should come to the school board meeting to show support against weighting PSEO grades, because if PSEO grades got equal treatment, then the school wouldn't be able to have college classes at the high school anymore, which is not true. PSEO and college and school classes had been weighted equally at St. Francis up until that year. They just hadn't been weighted at all, which is pretty much the same. This incident was really upsetting to me because it pitted student against student, which exponentially increased the tension in the district. The student later said that the counselors gave her her information. PSEO parents and students were upset when I told them about this, and we contacted the superintendent and the principal. They agreed that this shouldn't have happened, but no amends were made. So no one came into my college and school trigonometry class and told the students that this wasn't true. So I believe that the most fair and simple solution is to pass this bill, which would create a better chance for PSEO, college and school, and AP students to be treated equally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, who's
Thank you, Senators, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Claire Westra, and I'm a senior at Fulda High School. I am one of 10 kids currently taking PSEO classes from Minnesota West Community and Technical College. I'm involved in band, choir, National Honor Society, FCCLA, BPA, volleyball, and basketball. I have been accepted at the University of Kansas for next fall. This past weekend, I auditioned for the School of Music at KU. This is my second year taking PSEO classes. I have enrolled in a large number of classes over my 2 years. I am currently taking Introduction to Speech and a sophomore level biology class, Human Anatomy. The difference between last year and this year for PSEO students is huge. There was no problem with students taking online PSEO classes last year. Students who chose to take online classes were able to go to a study hall. When my peers went to other classes, I went to study hall and had access to computers in the library for the entire hour. PSEO students were not allowed to leave the building during their study hall periods. Fulda still has a closed campus, except for the few of us who take online PSEO classes. I'm going to talk about a specific incident that happened last year on April 12, 2016. All sophomores and juniors that were interested in taking PSEO classes the following school year were called to attend a meeting set up by Principal Slothog. At the meeting, we were told that a new policy, which we took to mean that it was already approved by the school board, was in place for the upcoming school year. The policy, which is in the handout my mom brought, said that any student wishing to take online PSEO classes the following school year would not be allowed on the campus during the hours they had PSEO classes. After the policy was discussed, nearly 60% of students interested in PSEO classes chose to opt out of the program. They were handed their schedules and had 1 day to discuss their plan with their parents for the next school year. A majority of those students live in rural communities outside of Fulda. Feeling that there was no place for them to go during those hours, they decided there was no way for them to take PSEO classes. Taking how I felt about these students who couldn't take PSEO classes. It is wrong to enforce a policy that hinders a student's access to education. It is wrong for a person of power to restrict students' educational options. Those students have lost so much because they do not have the choice to take PSEO classes. I am appalled that the person in power in my school would choose to take away the rights of minors rather than allow the money to follow the student. The next point I'm going to talk about is my everyday schedule. I am not allowed in the school building for 2 separate hours per day. Even though I have co-curricular activities before school 2 days a week, I do not have a first hour class, so I have to leave the school for first hour. I arrive at the school around 8:45. I am not allowed to go to my locker until the bell rings at 8:53. I am forced to sit on a bench outside of the office. I have to leave the school building again around 1:25. I have 1 class period out of the building, and then I am to go back to school around 2 o'clock. My final class period ends at 3 o'clock. Of the 10 hours a week I am forced out of the building, I lose 5 hours running home. My grade average has dropped because of this. Once an A++ student, my grades have dropped to an A/B+ range. Also, because I am not at school 100% of the school day, I am not aware of all the opportunities that arise at my school. I was unaware of a scholarship opportunity recently and couldn't apply because I had missed the deadline. The next point I'm going to talk about is how I have been treated as a PSEO student by the administration and school board. As a PSEO student, the administration and school board have treated me as if I am the school's biggest problem. The administration does not treat PSEO students with respect. We are not included and feel left out because of our choice to seek higher education. The school board does not care about the well-being of PSEO students because this policy would not have been put in place if that were the case. I have spoken to the administration and the school board and raised valid concerns with them. They have made obstacles for PSEO students to jump through. The next point I'm going to talk about is how I've been treated as a PSEO student by non-PSEO students. I have been alienated by fellow students because of my choice. I have lost friendships because they have chosen to believe what the school administration is telling them rather than gathering the whole truth and determining it themselves. I have been judged solely on my choice and cast as an outsider. I do not feel welcome at my school every day. I do not feel like a normal student. Other students have said these same things, and they feel they are being denied resources because of their choice to seek higher education through PSEO. The next point I'm going to talk about is how I have learned from this experience. Education is extremely important. There are people around the world who do not have access to education and would give their lives to learn. Every day I have to fight for my education. I am doing this because it is the right thing to do. I have learned to always do what is right, even when it is not easy. The next part I'm going to talk about is asking what the senators can do for me. I'm asking you to think about your children. Think about the opportunities that you would want your children to have. I'm also asking you to give the power back to the kids. Give children the resources and tools they need to succeed. We are the future. We are the ones who are one step closer to ending world hunger, the ones closer to bridging the gap of racism, the ones closer to solving climate change, the ones closer to curing cancer, and we are the ones closer to creating total harmony in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Westra. Next, please.
Like this. Okay. Hello all, thank you for having me today to speak. My name is Catalina Nampa, and I began doing full-time PSCO at the University of Minnesota during my junior year. Previously, I had experience with college-level coursework through the AP and College in the Schools coursework that I was taking at my high school in Hopkins. After being admitted into PSCO at the U of M, I was given the opportunity to greatly enhance my academic career. I took courses that allowed me to engage with professors who are well known for their work in their respective fields. I was also able to learn about so much more than the normal high school curriculum regularly allows. I took those courses that allowed me to engage with professors who actually cared so much about their work that they were conducting research in it. I've had breakfast with a sociology professor who has told me about his drive to learn about sociological factors in the education in America. My economics professor and I have discussed the different options I have for college. They have written letters of recommendation for me. As a low-income minority student who would not have had these opportunities if not for PSCO, this has opened up doors that were never open to me before. During my time at the University of Minnesota, I decided to join the University of Minnesota PSCO Student Association to meet other students who were interested in enhancing the PSCO experience through facilitating events, projects, and resources. During my senior year, I was voted in as president and given the responsibility of representing those 600 students who attend the University of Minnesota as PSCO. During this time, I've been hearing the same concerns over and over again. Many students have said, "Oh, I wish I had known about PSCO during my junior year, now I only get a year of it." Other students have said, "It is unfair that my high school was willing to waive my College in the Schools 1003 class, but not my University of Minnesota 1004 class. It was the same class, German, just level 3 and then level 4, just one was not weighted." Many students should have this opportunity to achieve more than just what their high school will allow them. Please listen to us who are speaking here today and who are sitting in this room to support this bill. The future of Minnesota is standing in this room and asking you to support an education beyond high school and into a post-secondary opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. Castro.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kayla Westra, and I am a parent of a student in Fulda, Minnesota. Claire talked quite a bit about her experiences, and I really can't say them again because it's much more powerful coming from a student. As a mom, it's really hard to listen to the bullying that your child goes through by people who are supposed to be helping her with her education. And I'm actually the Dean of Distance Learning and Technology at Minnesota West Community and Technical College. And I deal directly with concurrent and PSEO enrollment with my position. I work with 50 different high schools that have students taking online classes through us. I work with 10 different high schools doing concurrent enrollment. I am the one parent in Fulda who knows that state statute forward and backwards. And I can't tell you how disappointed I am that a school would put this kind of a barrier in front of the kids. My daughter is going to be okay. She has supportive parents. We provide a car, we provide computer, Wi-Fi, and a place to go. But for that 55% of the kids who could not take PSEO classes, those are the kids that I'm fighting for. I have been talking about this issue nonstop since April 12th, the date that Claire told you about. The way out of poverty is education, and we know this. I grew up in a small farming community in south central Minnesota. My dad didn't graduate high school. He sent all 3 of his kids to college. All 3 of us are in education, either as superintendents. I'm an English faculty as well. My brother's a band director. We talk policy. We understand funding. I know that this is not a singular issue, but what is happening in Fulda is wrong. It is a bullying technique, and and it's intended to keep kids from taking PSEO classes. And there are no avenues for the kids' voices to be heard. The school board has, to a person, said they will back the administration, and they have. The administration says, you want her in the building, you take our classes. And so while I could have also spoken about the last bill that was here, quite a bit actually, and I would love to talk to you for a number of hours on this topic, I would just ask you to please put some teeth into this legislation, because right now the Fulda District doesn't follow a number of state statutes, and there's nothing we can do. We have talked to the Minnesota Department of Education. Several parents have called. There's nothing they can do because the statute doesn't say that a principal can't kick a kid out of class. This is a student, in fact, it's the top 10 students out of those 2 classes. So my daughter jokingly said I should just pick a fight because then I could get in-school suspension and I could stay. And that is not how we want our children to perceive people who are supposed to be helping them. So please listen to these kids today and make sure that the barriers are removed so that they can further their education.
Thank you, Dr. Westra. Next, we have Dr. Porter. Welcome to the committee. If you just state your name for the record, please.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Louis Porter, Executive Director of the Council for Minnesotans of African Heritage. And as you may know, we were formed in 1980, then the Council on Black Minnesotans. And our charge is to connect Minnesotans of African Heritage with the legislative process. I'm happy today to talk to you about PSEO options. We know that all students benefit from the PSEO options, but the research also shows that African heritage students in particular benefit from this option. We know that more go to college and are successful in college. The option also has been said to increase the number of African-American students who pursue teaching, which is very important in our community and is very needed throughout the nation and in this state. I was very happy to co-sponsor with other organizations and the Center for School Change a conference last year on the post-secondary options, and it was just a joy to hear the students. You've heard them today, but we also had a lot of students from all across the state and a very diverse group talk about PSEO and what it did for them. We were especially pleased to see that it opens up access to STEM courses, science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as that the students were primed and poised for success when they took part in the program, and the many, many benefits, both seen and unseen, that were shared to us. Also, as an educator and as the parent of a college student, it just made me really proud to hear them talk about what PSEO did for them, as I've also heard today. So I just want to encourage you to consider this, consider enhancing this option, and I want to pledge my strong support and support of the council for it.
Thank you, Dr. Porter. I see Mr. Piccolo at the table, and then is Mr. Jimenez planning to testify still?
Not here.
He's not here. Okay. And then Mr. Bartholomew, if you'd make your way forward, if you'd still like to testify. Mr. Piccolo, please.
Mr. Chair and members, my name is Eugene Piccolo, the Executive Director of the Minnesota Association of Charter Schools. We're here to support this bill and encourage the legislature to expand the post-secondary enrollment options. As was just mentioned, a number of our students, 55% of students in charter schools are minority students, and these programs provide an option for them to expand their options in terms of education and to achieve their goals in life. And so we strongly encourage support for this bill in that area. We really support also giving students a voice on the concurrent enrollment advisory committee boards. And I think it's important that note that there's more than one student called for in the legislation. And that's important because oftentimes students are put on boards as a token, one member, and here at least there'll be two, and that'll give some strength and not seem so overwhelming to be one voice speaking for all students. The third provision I'd like to mention is Section 6 of the bill, which relates directly to charter schools, to allow charter schools to be alternative learning programs. Currently, charter schools are not allowed to be alternative learning programs to serve graduation incentive students, although we have a number of schools, about 20 schools, that are predominantly serving graduation incentive students. So this bill will allow those schools to get that designation, and with that designation, access to additional resources to serve those students who are at risk, students from graduation dropouts to people with in the different mental health systems. And there's about 12 different categories of graduation incentive students in law. So we support this bill and urge you to support this, and we thank Senator Nelson for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Piccolo. Mr. Bartholomew. And then
Mr. Chair, members.
we could just call up Ms. Burris Gallagher and Pakao Yang, please.
Mr. Chair, members, Jim Bartholomew with the Minnesota Business Partnership. And I'm going to speak on Senate File 570 prior to the amendment. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the original version of Senate File 570. At its core, PSEO is intended to provide additional educational opportunities for students. With nearly 7,800 students participating in PSEO and the substantial growth in concurrent enrollment courses and other options like AP and IB, PSEO is working. It's a success. Unfortunately, in trying to make sure every student has the best education possible, including allowing high school students to take college courses, tensions rise when there's pressure to preserve existing structures and options seem limited. It's at these times precisely that we need to err on the side of expanding opportunities for students. Section 2 of this bill is a great example of how crazy things can get when we lose our focus on students. Until 2014, post-secondary institutions weren't allowed to tell families that they could save on tuition costs by having their students participate in PSEO. This restriction, known as the gag rule, was repealed for 5 years, but only for students in districts with 700 or more students in grades 10 through 12. In other words, if you live in the metro or in a district like St. Cloud, Duluth, or Mankato, a post-secondary institution can let your son or daughter know that they can save on tuition by participating in PSEO. But if you live in a district with fewer than 700 students, they can't tell you that you can save on tuition through PSEO. Somehow, we've divided our students into two groups. One group that gets information and the other that doesn't. Fortunately, social media and websites are making this less of a factor, though it is a shame that this disparity will remain in our state law. The testimony you've heard today from PSEO students provides other examples of how we're discouraging students from pursuing educational opportunities. What are some alternatives? Where high schools and post-secondary institutions are close to one another, can they negotiate the sharing of facilities and staff to expand course offerings? For districts at certain student enrollment levels and minimum PSEO participation rates, should there be some additional state support? Could we provide grants so districts can develop local solutions? We'd ask that you support Senate File 570 because it brings the focus back to giving the students the best education possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bartholomew. Ms. Yang.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask Mr. Nathan to add a few comments before we move to the MDE, if that's okay.
Okay, very
Thank you
briefly,
so
Mr.
much.
Nathan.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I'll be very brief. One of the sections that remains in the bill gives more power to high schools and more power to school districts. We've talked about empowering families and empowering students, but one of the sections empowers high schools. I've talked with officials in North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. There are people willing to work with us. We don't draw a line around the state of Minnesota and say high schools can only buy books and computers and other kinds of products and services only from Minnesota producers. We wisely have a long record, for example, of sending millions of dollars, and I mean millions of dollars, to the College Board to pay for advanced placement, another good option that's offered in some high schools. We send millions of dollars to other institutions, for example, like International Baccalaureate, which isn't even based in the United States. It's based in Switzerland to provide International Baccalaureate courses. So what one of the provisions does is to allow high schools, should they choose, no one is forced to, should they they choose, to negotiate agreements with colleges and universities in neighboring states. And I have been assured by officials in some other states that they're very open to this possibility. We think college in the schools is a great option. We're not talking about PSCO with neighboring states. We're only talking about college in the schools. So it was great to hear that MREA is supportive of this. We actually have discussed this with MREA. I hope that you would consider retaining this as well as other sections of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Ms. Yang.
Good afternoon. Excuse me, so everybody can hear. Good afternoon, Chair Pratt and members. My name is Paku Yang, and I'm System Director of P20 and College Readiness at Minnesota State. I am here to provide some comments on Senate File 570 from a post-secondary perspective. Minnesota State colleges and universities provide 90% of the PSEO and concurrent enrollment offerings across the state of Minnesota. So this is a topic that is near and dear to our heart. We have specific feedback, however, to the language of extending the definition of eligible institutions to Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin, especially for concurrent enrollment partnerships. And we look forward to working with the author, Senator Nelson, on this because we believe there may be some unintended consequences of this language. And I would like to take a few moments to share what these possible unintended consequences are with you. There's no doubt that we value concurrent enrollment and PSEO. Many of the student testimonies that you heard this morning talked about PSEO and the value of it, both to the students and to the families and to our communities. Concurrent enrollment also is deeply valued, and there's lots of statistics about that. What I would like to talk about is why this is important that this stays in Minnesota. I want to share with you that our campuses are concerned about this language. Campuses like Southwest Minnesota State University in Marshall, Central Lakes in Brainerd, St. Cloud State University, Anoka Ramsey Community College in the Twin Cities here are all alarmed because they are our largest providers of concurrent enrollment across the state. These campuses, along with other post-secondary institutions in the state, are partnering to provide concurrent enrollment in partnership with our area high schools. However, the unintended consequences may negatively impact our communities. For example, school districts and colleges and universities are proud of the strong and growing concurrent enrollment partnerships. Central Lakes College, for example, partners with 37 high schools across central Minnesota. In 2016, these partnerships provided over 1,700 high school students with 18,000 college credits. There has been strategic partnerships between the school districts, Central Lakes College, the Chamber, businesses, and industries to ensure that students graduate K-12 and being career and college ready have access to affordable education, post-secondary education, and are equipped for tomorrow's workforce. The policy question that I would ask for you to consider is how would these regional partnerships be impacted if high schools started to partner with colleges and universities in Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, instead of their local college or university? Another unintended consequence may be the recruitment of Minnesota students to out-of-state post-secondary institutions. Currently, 20% of Minnesota high school graduates enroll in colleges outside of Minnesota. And I'm not here to say that we shouldn't encourage our students to go anywhere in the nation or across the world. However, we also know that there is a shortage of members in our workforce, of talent in Minnesota. Concurrent enrollment partnerships in Minnesota, we know that when students take concurrent enrollment courses with our Minnesota state institutions, 47% of these students go to another Minnesota state institution. So I would ask you that whether this policy would promote a drain on Minnesota's talent to out-of-state post-secondary institutions. Would this policy change encourage Minnesota residents to seek education and employment opportunities in other states when we need to grow more highly skilled employees here in Minnesota? And last of all, the current law requires concurrent enrollment programs to establish advisory boards, to report program evaluation results, and to be accredited by the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, known as NACEP. NACEP accreditation also expects a collaborative working relationship between the high school and the post-secondary institution. I would ask you to consider how would this policy change impact Minnesota school districts' ability to address issues around program quality and concerns with their post-secondary partners across the state border when the state of Minnesota has no authority over out-of-state colleges and universities. And so as I wrap up my comments here, I do want to reiterate that we are deeply committed to concurrent enrollment in PSEO. We value the local and regional aspects of these partnerships, and we think it is best to keep these valuable partnerships within our state.
Thank you.
I also want one quick side note, because there was an amendment today on the technology resources. We believe, just at first glance, that this may have fiscal implications on post-secondary institutions, but we would need to take a look at that further. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yang, and if it passes committee, it'll be going to higher ed and eventually education finance, so there'll be time for that. Mr. Rooney.
Mr. Chair, committee members, my name is Adosh Uni, Government Relations with the Department of Education. First of all, I want to thank the author, Senator Nelson, for taking the time yesterday to speak with me about her bill, and thank you for many of the amendments to the bill, especially regarding the removal of the grade weighting appeals process. We felt that this is a reasonable conclusion to come to not include that in the bill. Most of the bill, the department finds fairly acceptable and workable. One area where we want to continue to work with the author as well as the charter schools is on the portion that Mr. Piccolo mentioned in, I believe, Section 6, that puts charter schools in with state-approved alternative programs to serve graduation incentive eligible students and to access that funding. I know this bill is going to be carried into education finance eventually, so there will be some consideration about that fiscal impact. When we add new programs into the alternative program statute, we want to think about how that interacts with the whole set of statutes and any implications and consequences that may flow from that. So we really, our staff wants to sit down with Mr. Piccolo and other charter advocates and try to seek what the impact would be throughout the statutes and how the flow of funding would work there, because as the statute was written, the grad incentives program was developed specifically for the alternative programs, not specifically for charter schools. Students who do qualify for grad incentive programs who are attending charter schools are eligible to attend the alternative programs in the charter schools in their districts in which the charter school lies. So we're committed to working with the author and the advocates for charter schools further on that area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uni. Senator Nelson, did you want to make comments before we take
Have some
questions?
Sure, I would. And I want to thank the committee for their extra patience today. It's always important that we listen to students, and I appreciated the fact that they drove many miles to come and tell you about their experiences. I also want to really thank Sam Walseth with REA and Mr. Uni with MDE for bringing their concerns to me. That allowed us to actually do our work before we got to you with the amendment. I'm sorry that Minnesota State was not able to bring those concerns ahead of time, but I did hear them today. And so as we sat here, so we'll work on that. But what I would like to do, Mr. Chair, is because of I wanted to get the students up here right away, I'll just briefly tell the committee what the bill does as amended, and then open it up for comments from the committee. Okay. Section 1 does allow the concurrent enrollment option for school districts if they so choose to partner with a border state. We know that Minnesota State has increased its concurrent enrollment fees by over 100%, and that's causing great difficulty for our schools, particularly our rural schools. Vermont and Ohio have a similar interstate compact with concurrent enrollment agreement. So it certainly is something that has been done previously. Section 2, as we talked about, that caused some concern. And so we did remove the language that would have struck the gag rule. Although I think the cat's out of the bag, everybody knows that concurrent enrollment, dual credits of all type help students save money and their parents. But we are not changing that language at all, even though it's a little bit convoluted, how it was amended in 2014, we're leaving it just like it is. Section 3 does allow membership on the Concurrent Enrollment Advisory Board. Always good to have students and people with experience on those boards. Section 4 is actually the language that we worked with Mr. Walseth on with the REA, and that's actually I appreciate the amendment that he brought regarding the use of technology and how best that can help. And I do want to draw members' attention to that. I'll just read it to make sure you've got it. I know sometimes it's hard with amendments. Eligible institutions shall be responsible for providing technology resources necessary for enrolled students to complete applicable coursework. If the eligible institution is unable to provide technology resources, the school district and eligible institutions shall enter into agreement to provide such resources. The agreement shall provide reasonable compensation to the school district for providing those resources. So we've listened to the voices and all sides there for that. And then Section 5, you heard students talk about the unfairness of grade weighting for college courses, depending on whether they were PSEO or concurrent enrollment. Well, we do understand that is a concern. I felt that was something that was beyond what this bill could accomplish today. And we've listened to those concerns and we have deleted that aspect. And also, the Minnesota Department of Education had weighed in on that as well, that they did not have the ability to adjudicate such issues. So we've deleted that entire section. Again, I thank Mr. Uni for bringing those concerns to me earlier. And then lastly, Section 6 you heard about, which is the allowing charter schools to do a similar type thing. And I've heard those concerns as well, and I think that there'll be some further work done to refine that section as well. So, Mr. Chair, I would stand for any questions from the committee.
Okay. Are there any questions for the Senator Kent?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Nelson. I know this is something that many of us agree. These dual credit options are great for students, and we need to figure this out. And I appreciate very much the work that you've put into this over the years and today. Your remarks there answered some of my questions, so I'm just going to cut to a couple quick chases here. I do share the concerns about the out-of-state aspect of this. I'm wondering if there's not a solution that solves some of the challenges to some of our school districts when we're creating just such a big pathway to pull so many resources out of our schools, and it creates real hurdles for some of those schools. On the other hand, the testimony that we've heard about students being kicked out of their schools, we just know that doesn't sound right. So I just feel I appreciated Mr. Bartholomew's ideas about potentially having some grants, some ways we can maybe customize some solutions in certain types of situations based on proximity to certain types of higher ed institutions. I do think funding is just a big part of it. I am concerned about the increases that we're hearing from Minnesota State, but it is a reality that it becomes a disincentive to school districts the way it is currently structured. So I absolutely agree with the ideas here, and I hope we can keep working on some solutions that balance all of these issues properly. Mr. Nathan and I had a chance to speak, and he was talking about the grade weighting issue. We have a fabulous student here from Woodbury High School who is an incredibly impressive student, and we were talking about grade weighting, and my response was we need to make sure that the solutions that we have are scalpels and not axes. And so I know that's something that you were very responsive to, and I appreciate that. So I just really wanted to say there that I feel like, we do need to keep working on this a little bit, but, I appreciate your bringing these forward.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Comments to that. I think Senator Kent brings up some of the very questions that I had too. We're always very protective about Minnesota dollars going to other states. And let me just note that Minnesota Statute 124D.04 already provides options for enrolling in adjoining states. Those are for our K-12 students. So my goodness, we already have this in place. And the other thing I would mention is this is simply an option, members. This bill simply allows the option for school districts to choose to partner with a higher education institution in another state. And again, sometimes just the ability of another choice might help bring down those fees. I noted Ms. Yang's comment that was Minnesota State provides 90% of our PSEO opportunities or concurrent enrollment opportunities. You know, Mona, we might say that that's almost a monopoly, although maybe not quite. But what I would say is that, I certainly am interested in scalpel approaches, and I do believe this gets to that in the fact that it is not a mandatory issue at all. It provides an option for potential is all for our school districts, and we do have some language already in place in that regard. So thank you for those good comments.
Mr. Chair, if I can just make one quick follow-up to that. And I hear you about the open enrollment situation, but that is going to be highly geographically driven, and that's going to be limited to a relatively small number of students in a very small number of districts. This type of an approach, particularly with the online opportunities, you can see where we're really opening, I would think, potentially a much bigger door with much bigger unintended consequences. So I just want us to be cautious as we proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Senators Clausen, Dames, and Chamberlain next. Senator Clausen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would ask for Senate Council clarification on the amendment. Somewhat familiar because most of this language was my bill 2 years ago. But on subdivision 10, it talks about courses according to agreements, and it goes on, it talks about eligibility, and then it talks about a public board and the governing body of an eligible public post-secondary system or an eligible private post-secondary institution as defined in subdivision 3. If you go to subdivision 3, eligible institution means a Minnesota public post-secondary institution. And so I'm not sure that this section 1 falls within Minnesota statute. And I guess I'm asking for a clarification from council on that.
Ms. Butler.
Mr. Chair, members, I believe the amendment works if that's because Senator Nelson's bill in section 1 adds those other states to that list of eligible institutions. So then that would allow the high schools or the school districts to negotiate agreements with out-of-state higher eds.
Senator Clausen, did you have a follow-up?
Thank you. I did. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So basically, we are changing 2 sections then of the concurrent enrollment or dual enrollment. We're changing the definition, and we're also changing then the agreements. The definition of what constitutes a post-secondary institution.
Ms. Butler.
Mr. Chair, members, correct. We're expanding the definition of eligible institutions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Clausen. Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Nelson, for bringing this bill. I think you got an excellent bill. We listened to some of the testimony stuff. I think we got a great bill with the exception of Section 1. Section 1 gives me tremendous heartburn bringing these other states in, allowing our schools to go out and negotiate contracts with these other states. Because I think at the end of the day, if we want to be honest with ourselves, what's happening here is if we have our schools going out and finding that they can get these services cheaper than we can through the Southwest State and Marshall or through the Midwest campuses in my district, I think what we really do is kind of fooling ourselves, because I think the reason that they can't compete is probably because of the restrictions, the mandates, and the rules and regulations that we've put in place that now have our state colleges in that position. So I would rather see legislation dealing with straightening that out so we can compete versus possibly sending students out. The rest of your bill, I think, is great. So thank you for bringing the rest of the bill, but I hope that before this gets too far, we can get that worked out. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Dames.
Thank
Senator
you.
Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Dames. I totally agree with you that things we do in this body and in this state make doing business more expensive in Minnesota. And I have been on the cutting edge with you in the Jobs Committee trying to remove some of those things. But let me just add, we do crazy things like offering border states different tax structures just to make them more competitive with them along the border. So I agree with Senator Dames' point that sometimes we do things that make things more expensive in the state, but I'll save my comments till the end.
Senator Chamberlain.
Thank you, Senator Pratt. And Senator Nelson, again, this is forward thinking, out of the box. It's about putting kids first and creating options. And as far as the first part of the bill, it's not again, I go back to this great saying, it's not either or. This is a both and. We don't have to stop this just to make our schools more competitive in the state. We can do both things at the same time. Or we can do that, do this, fix our other problems, but we shouldn't get hung up on not allowing the kids the options to continue forward with this sort of stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Chamberlain. Any other questions?
If I could just add a closing comment then, Mr. Chair.
Sure. I'd like to make, one quick comment. I think one of the pieces that, I'd like to have had cleaned up today was the charter school piece. I don't like allowing unresolved policy to be leaving the policy committee, but just to remind members that this will have another stop in higher ed as well as K-12 finance. And so I just wanted to voice that one small concern.
Mr.
Senator
Chair.
Nelson.
Thank you. I hear that. I understand that. Unfortunately, I didn't hear about it until I was sitting here today, so didn't quite have time to address that issue, but I have great confidence that we will. And if not, I will be coming back to you, but I'm sure we can address that issue. Members, I really do appreciate your attention today. We are focused on students. That's our job. We are focused on students, and we fund what works. And I couldn't agree more with the parent here, the doctor who is at Southwest State, I believe it was. Education is the great equalizer. It is the great equalizer. And it is the economic issue of our day. It's the racial issue of our day. It is the moral issue of our day. And I am passionate and dedicated to making sure, as I know we all are, that we are doing all that is in our power to give our students choices, focusing on the student achievement, and then funding those things that work. So I want to thank you for your attention today. I know it was a long hearing. I specifically thank all those who came and traveled to share their concerns and issues. My ears are open. We will continue to work as needed to make sure that this is a good fit for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Senator Chamberlain moves that Senate File 570 pass and be referred to the Committee on Higher Education as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Senator Nelson. Thank you, testifiers. If there's no other business to come before the committee, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.